we want to welcome with us on the second and third segment, because we have a lot to talk about, Steve Fischer, who's the Executive Director of the Regional Environmental Council, and Dave Johnson, who's the Food Operations Manager for the Food Hub Initiative, which we're going to talk a little bit about. Steve Fischer, Executive Director for several years now, right?
Yeah, that's right, about 7 years.
7 years, well, more than several, yeah, several times too. Maybe you could tell for our viewers who are not familiar with the Regional Environmental Council what your organization's all about.
Sure. The Regional Environmental Council, or we call it sometimes the REC, we've been around actually since 1971. And essentially our mission is to bring people together to build healthy, sustainable, and just communities, which is a broad mandate.
Yeah.
But since 1995, that's also included helping to make sure that everybody has access to healthy food. And we've done that since 95 by building a suite of programming and advocacy with our members to make that happen. So that's included a network now we support of 60 plus community and school gardens all around the city. Right. We have a program, a youth employment program, where we teach kids from the city how to grow food and sell it right in the city. It's called Youth Grow. And then since 2008, we've been running farmers markets, including this big blue van, which is a mobile farmers market. So right. We're somewhere in the city from mid-June through the end of October, selling healthy local food at now 17 locations around the city.
So before it became trendy, you were all about food to table and local food to the table, fresh, healthy living. So now that's the rage, and now it's an opportunity for people to double down. It's been great to be able to work with you and your organization over the years. Some people might say, the Chamber, Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce and Regional Environmental Council, what do they have in common other than the word regional in their names? Right. But we've been lucky enough to partner on a new initiative, fairly new initiative, funded by the Health Foundation of Central Massachusetts, and it's this Food Hub program, and there's different pieces to it. We've got the whole idea of aggregation, working with the farms to determine what they're growing, their inventory, and then delivering it, and I'll let you get into that. We've got the commercial kitchen, and then try to do some workforce development in the food industry. So maybe we could jump in on the aggregation, which the REC is taking the lead on.
Sure, I'd be happy to. And just to say, it really has been a great partnership between the Chamber and the REC, and really appreciate your leadership on it, Tim. I think it's an interesting idea to say, well, can you address the issue of healthy food access and also have a net positive impact on the economy and also maybe create jobs out of it? But the aggregation piece, aggregation's kind of a funny word, but essentially we're talking about distribution, marketing, selling local farm product with a healthy food access mission. And so we're now in our pilot year, as you know, of the initiative. We're working in this pilot year with just a half a dozen local farms and a few institutional buyers. And our hope is to scale up who has access to healthy local food and make that much more universal, while at the same time bringing a net positive benefit for the farmer and helping to make farm livelihoods and the farm business in this region a much more sustainable business.
And Dave, we're going to talk with you a lot about the commercial kitchen, but I mean, you're a Central Mass native. You've worked around the country in this space. I mean, Worcester County, one of the things that brought the Chamber to the table is Worcester County's got more farms than any other county in Massachusetts. That's an important part of our economy. We want the Chamber, our mission is kind of framed by 3 words: recruit, retain, incubate. If we can support local farmers and help in support of our restaurants and our institutions and food, we're keeping jobs local, money's being spent locally that supports the economy. If we can incubate new businesses at the commercial kitchen. But from your vantage point, being a native, having worked in this field around the country and now coming back, where do you see the opportunity in working with the farms?
I think what's really exciting about this particular project is what Steve is talking about, particularly with regards to our work with institutions. Not only does that solve some problems about access and really kind of speak to those issues about who has access to local food, who considers local food for them. Everybody is eating together in school cafeterias, that kind of a thing. The other piece that's really exciting about that in particular is that institutions offer a really unique scale for farmers, scale that a lot of our farmers here in Central Mass have not been serving for some time. You know, a lot of farmers are specifically working through farm stands or selling direct to customers through farmers markets. This gives them the opportunity to be able to plan for the coming year, to be able to grow, knowing that they have these larger scale customers that are going to be buying.
And just to, real simple, Worcester Public Schools is one of the large partners that that is involved in this. So if Donna Lombardi, who's the, runs the Worcester Public Schools kitchens and nutrition program, she says, I want X amount of so-and-so, to some extent, literally and figuratively, a farmer could maybe take to the bank, if I plant this, I know that it's going to be purchased. So
That's right.
there's a little more predictability, stability in that. And so then you can grow that with colleges and universities, large institutions, hospitals, and then, scale it, with maybe restaurants and others. You've got some real tangible ways to strengthen the economy and help farmers.
That's absolutely true.
And to take that a quick step further, we're going to talk about the incubator kitchen in a few minutes. But what's really cool about that opportunity as well is not only are we helping institutions access local food, but we're working with small food producers in our area. And we have the opportunity to draw direct connections between the source of their ingredients and the products that they're making. And so the ability to increase consumption of local food across the board is that much greater as we're working to support local food businesses in our
Again,
area.
if we keep that locally, that's less in terms of the environment impact of things having to travel across the country,
That's right.
shipping, gas, AC, all those things.
Your food mile is moved from an average of 1,500 miles to an average of 50, and that's a huge net benefit.
We're going to spend some time talking about the incubator, but we'll just take a minute. We're also talking about workforce development on this, Steve.
That's right. As you know, Tim, we have a piece of this project is a partnership with Quinsigamond Community College. They have offered for several years culinary classes, and we're working with them to develop a more robust program which would provide certificate and training and placement for folks who have been facing barriers to employment, who are chronically underemployed or unemployed, to access the local food service economy and get placed in either institutional food service or restaurants or caterers and that kind of thing, and have an opportunity to start to build a career within the food service industry.
And so the idea is, I say this all the time, single biggest issue we hear from our members is workforce training pipeline, regardless of the size of the company or the sector in. And it's no different in the food industry.
Yep.
Thousands of people working in our restaurants, cafeterias, hospital cafeterias, institutions, higher ed. So if we can get a baseline training, for whether it be immigrants or unemployed, as you said, or new immigrants, they've got a toehold. They've got a job opportunity.
That's right. And as you know, I'm sure from your members, we've heard as well that there's just terrific demand in that sector. As we've seen, the food sector has been growing in this area as nationally, and demand outstrips supply in terms of the number of jobs that are available in that field.
Great. We've really been lucky through the beneficence of the Health Foundation of Central Massachusetts to work together on this food hub project. And as I mentioned before the break, there are 3 legs to the stool that we're all kind of partnering on. There is the whole aggregation, which is working with farmers and connecting them with institutional, like the Worcester Public Schools and the cafeteria, who crank out food every day, our colleges and universities, working with our hospitals and other large food generators to try to help give economic stability, keep dollars local. We're working on the workforce pipeline piece with Quinsigamond Community College, knowing that there are thousands of jobs available for people if we can just get them those baseline skills in the food industry. And then the last piece, which ties nicely into, and what really excited us at the Chamber about getting involved in this, as we talk about recruit, retain, incubate being the words, how we organize our work at the Chamber, but a commercial kitchen where we can encourage and train people properly to incubate and start a business. So Dave, you've, again, and I would like you maybe to share our viewers you're a Millbury guy, Millbury kid, but you've worked nationally in this space, and and what brought you back, and what's the economic impact of power you see that commercial kitchens can provide?
Absolutely. Well, I spent the last 8 years of my life in Western Oregon, working particularly around food system development. And that began as a farmer, just, specifically growing food and selling it to the masses. And slowly, as a result of being a part of that network, I began to see opportunities for broader access. I began to see opportunities for broader economic impact. My background prior to moving to Oregon was not farming, but I was actually working as a transportation planning assistant here in the city of Worcester. And so my brain was thinking about systems. My brain was thinking about access. It was thinking about economic impact. And food is a really powerful tool for that because everybody eats. And we have vast natural resources in our country to be able to produce food. And so there's a lot of opportunity there, but the reality is that we bring in food from a lot of different sources around the world, as opposed to eating what grows in our backyard. As food trends shift towards farm to table, as you brought up, as people are becoming more and more interested in cultural foods, people are becoming more and more interested in farm fresh value added products, there's lots of opportunities for small entrepreneurs to be able to make a go of a business and actually be able to take advantage of the trends that are happening within public eating habits. And so a program like this really offers the opportunity for a food business owner to be able to bring their dream, bring their recipe to the table, but have a little bit of the learning curve lessened for them when it comes to navigating the regulatory system of producing food, in terms of getting into a facility where they can safely produce a food product. And so what our incubator kitchen provides is it provides services to help people navigate that regulatory framework, help people get permitted, help people understand what food safety principles are.
And so when someone becomes a member of the commercial kitchen, you're literally walking through them through the process. So if it's a farmer who's looking to say, how can I take my product that I'm growing to the next level, with making different recipes or things, whether it be someone who wants to try their grandmother's recipe and say, hey, how can I take this to scale or make bigger batches that I can maybe sell or commercialize? It could be new immigrants coming over to say, how do I create a catering business to people, because my ethnic food, I think, is something people are going to enjoy. Those are all opportunities, and you walk them through how to do it properly.
Absolutely. Food is really unique in that everybody in some capacity, whether you just make toast or whether you're a gourmet chef, everybody has some experience with food production. And so particularly as you look at sort of like the economic experience that our country has had over the last several years, people are thinking of how to make ends meet. And food entrepreneurship is a unique opportunity because everybody has some direct connection to food. People see it as an opportunity. And you bring up a really good point, because we here in Worcester have a very rich diverse cultural makeup with lots of food cultures coming together. And so an incubator like this provides the opportunity to meet those people where they're at and provide unique services that really help them meet their goals. And so we have some folks that come in and they have no experience in any kind of a commercial kitchen, or maybe they've been a dishwasher in a restaurant or something like that. But when it comes to taking a recipe of 2 dozen cookies and turning that into a recipe of 40 dozen cookies in a commercial oven, that's a very different conversation. And so our services are designed to be able to, like I said, help meet people where they're at. So whether you're coming in with no experience or whether you've been running a food business for 5 years and you just need a space to produce, we have the services and the facility available for that.
Mm-hmm. And Steve, you're out there, Youth Grow. I think your team is one of the tenants here. You guys making right. With the young people over the years a great hot sauce, which you've commercialized. That's
absolutely true. Yeah, it's exciting to have one of the tenants of this new incubator kitchen be the youth program that we've fostered since 2003. And so they've, as you mentioned, developed a hot sauce product that they've named,
which is very good, and it's in my kitchen and I use it regularly.
It's called Drop It Like It's Hot Sauce, okay. And it's available for sale at our farmers markets. And then, but the incubator kitchen is going to allow these young folks to scale up production of this little business that they have for themselves that runs in support of the program. And we're hoping that they'll be able to sell the product wholesale, so it'll be available in retail outlets.
And, and for anyone, a lot of the Worcester Renaissance is taking place as we speak with new construction investment. A lot of it's being driven by kind of the restaurants and the food, and we hear about fusion foods where two different cultures and traditions come together to these mixed blends. I mean, it's really limitless in where this can go.
Absolutely. And what's really cool about this program is that it offers the opportunity for people to really make a difference in how they're producing. So for example, Steve was just mentioning the hot sauce product. And they've gone from a process of producing maybe say 5 to 8 gallons per batch. And our last batch that we did a couple of weeks ago, we were looking at 30-gallon batch, just because of the facility and because of the access to the equipment that we have and the services that we have available. The way that we track our tenants' work in the kitchen allows us to see how people progress over time. And we have one tenant in particular that when he started in the kitchen, it was a new space for him. It was kind of a new environment for him to be producing, and he's got a lot of experience. But we saw his efficiency in the kitchen almost double just because of the access to resources and equipment that we have available.
And it teaches, with the young people or, any of the people from different age points in life that come in, it's how do you, take that entrepreneurial spark that they've got to the next level. If there's anything that, Dave, you mentioned it and said it well, the economic tumult that we went through at the Great Recession, people are thinking, entrepreneurial, how do I, get by? How do I, harness some of the creative ideas that I have and maybe make some money behind them? And you can help them do that.
Absolutely. We see that happening with changes in the restaurant industry. People are going to food trucks now. Food trucks are becoming a very, very popular thing. Farmers markets are more popular than they've ever been. And that's not just leeks and carrots and lettuce, but that's also jars of pickles, that's baked goods, that's, kind of any number of products that people can produce and sell directly to the community. So there's a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurial folks.